Hello, everybody. It is I, it is me is him is they, or whatever else. Tim back again. Back with another stack, the final stack of what did I do on my summer vacation? Or the record store sale that I went to for Father's Day. I bought records. So if you saw my previous one, you saw that I showed about half of what I picked up, and the premise was they were having a big sale on their El Cheapo records, as I call them. And like I said, I don't really find much in there, but when they're that low, you're gonna take a chance. You're gonna buy a few that maybe whatever. Um, so I did, but I really went because of their $5 records were buy one get one. So without further ado, we're gonna get through this stack because it's late. I'm tired. You're tired. Everybody's tired, and we should all be sleeping or listening to tons and tons and tons of music. So either way, here we go. It's a beautiful day today, and not yesterday. Tomorrow is questionable, but today. So this is the follow-up to It's a Beautiful Day. And for those of you who don't know what that album is, go look at the picture and then realize that what you're looking at is psych rock. You won't make the connection. It's one of those, you really question what it is, like the marketing behind it, It looks very Sound of Music-esque. And you listen to it and you realize, I didn't bring any weed because you really need it for that album. This one's a little bit more blues oriented, a little bit more folk oriented, as opposed to psych. Came out a good 4 or 5 years later, but I was willing to give it a chance and give it a shot. So this one, I like to thank the previous owner who felt the need to write their all kinds of craziness all over the label. So instead of trying to show you, I'm going to show you to let you know that this is Chuck Brown and the Soul Searchers. This is an original pressing of their Bustin' Loose song on 12-inch single. So Chuck Brown is considered, for those of you outside of Washington D.C. probably don't know, Chuck Brown's considered the grandfather of go-go music. Now, what go-go music was really big in just D.C. Had a couple of outside hits. Most noticeable, or the biggest one, because I can speak. I'm good. The biggest one was the song by EU called "Doin' the Butt," which was a dance before they called it twerking, done a little bit slower, and it was called "Doin' the Butt." It was featured in the Spike Lee movie School Days. So go-go is a very percussion-driven music, but it's got elements of jazz, and it's got elements of hip-hop. Inside the DC area, you couldn't escape it. It was everywhere. I mean, I remember in malls, people would legitimately be selling bootleg go-go tapes. Everybody had them. You listened to them. They were horribly recorded. You didn't care. You weren't anybody if you didn't have the latest tape. And Chuck Brown was kind of considered the godfather of that. Great horn section, a lot of jazz roots, a lot of blues roots in his music. And he did a lot more than just go-go. So don't anybody think he got pigeonholed in that. But he's done a lot of great music, and it was really sad to see him go. But yeah, he was considered the godfather of go-go music. Not that anybody cared, just thought I'd share. So that's why I had that one. Let's Dance from the master David Bowie. It's in okay condition, but when you see him that cheap, you're gonna grab him, just because it's Bowie. You're not gonna leave it there. So glad to have that one. Give it a good spin. Again, for Lisa, good old LE. We've been talking about Jimmy Smith. This is one more to add to the collection. The unprecedented, or the unpredictable. I can read. I really can. I'm not stupid. The unpredictable Jimmy Smith. Fantastic on the organ. Just a jazz giant on the organ. And this one has a jazz version of Walk on the Wild Side. So, I haven't given these a proper spin and clean yet. Usually you can tell if I've cleaned it and spun it, because by then I'll put it in a bag, because I usually like to just wipe off any things that are on the cover and stuff like that. But like I said, I only picked these up a couple days ago, so really haven't had a lot of time. Marshall Tucker Band, showed one in the previous video. Again, I'm gonna grab them. I love that southern sound. I don't really have a big ear for country music. Without not well, I'll listen to the outlaw country. You know, Johnny Cash, Waylon Jennings, that stuff. That stuff's great. But to me, this is as close as I will probably get in most regards. Doesn't mean I won't try. Doesn't mean I don't experiment, listen. Doesn't mean that there aren't exceptions to the rule. But Southern rock, that has the country element, it has the jam band element, marries the two together. I am going to grab that stuff whenever I see it. You know, Molly Hatchet, obviously Leonard Skinner, obviously Allman Brothers, and Marshall Tucker being a great spin off of that, as well as the Dickie Betts band. I mean, I'm going to grab that stuff, so I was glad to pick that one up. Stephen Stills number 2. I have the first one, so I might as well continue the run. Plus, Crosby, Stills, Nash, great, just great Americana music. You're gonna, I mean, for at least me, I'm gonna grab it. Steppenwolf's greatest hits, Steppenwolf Gold. I actually didn't have any Steppenwolf on vinyl, so it's a good place to start. Don't know how much I don't know how far, how deep I would get into their catalog. They have obviously some great hits, Born to Be Wild, Magic Carpet Ride, The Pusher, but great stuff for me right now. This will probably hold it. I don't feel like I need to go out and spend a ton of money on Steppenwolf records, but see them that cheap, I'm gonna grab them. Bob James, Touchdown. It's so funny that this is the album that you see Touchdown, NFL's all over it. Don't know why, but whatever. But this is the album, and the song is actually called, I want to say, it's called Angelo. So the song Angelo on this record is the theme from Taxi. So, fun fact if you didn't know it. Well, you probably did. You look like you're smart. Another smart buy. Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. To me, you see him everywhere. I see people charging like $10, $15 for some of his records. I'm like, talk to me about early stuff. Yeah, it's worth the money, but this stuff is a dime a dozen. So I'm not willing to blow a lot of money, even though it's great. It's great music. Don't get me wrong, but just when you see him everywhere. So this was in really good condition. I had to pick it up. I mean, you have Against the Wind and you have Her Strut, but there's a couple of great tunes on here, like Betty Lou's Getting Out Tonight, the Horizontal Bop. I mean, this album is just really, really well done. So glad to add that one. This one was a little bit worse for wear, but again, for a quarter, why not? The cover's in a little bit of shape, a little rough shape, and I have all of the Police that you could ever want on CD and the Message in a Box. But again, on vinyl, I'm going to grab it. Police and Yada Madada has the ever eloquent hit Do 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 Da Da Da. So, but just by this point, they had, you looked at their first album, Outlandish Day Amore, and moving into Reggatta de Blanc. Reggatta de Blanc kind of brought in that reggae element, and I think by this point they had left a lot of the light punk that they had kind of started with, incorporated more of that reggae sound, and then honed in the pop and the jazz elements, which they did really, really well for a three-piece. And then really just started to craft their own sound, I think, even more so than their first two. So great to add that. I'm happy to add that one. So as a comment before, just like in the previous video, these were all the cheapies. The $5 record was really why I went, because like I said, buy one, get one. You always get a good selection in there, and this is no exception as well. So we'll start right off. Another to add to the Dave Brubeck collection of the Dave Brubeck Quartet. This is Jazz Impressions of Eurasia. This one is, if not a first pressing, a very early pressing on the Columbia 6i. Looking forward to giving this one a spin. It's actually on the top of the pile now. Really just, I find Brubeck very accessible. I know that 50s jazz is very easily digestible. It's very easy to to kind of sit back and relax to, and that's where I'm at. I'm willing to take some chances. I mean, obviously, I like Davis and Coltrane and Adderley, and I'm starting to branch out from that a little bit more. This falls a lot more in my wheelhouse with the jazz that I'm listening to right now, and I'm willing to take more chances, but I feel that I need to have a better foundation. So my ear gravitates towards this more at the moment. I don't think I'll ever get to the bonkers, insane free jazz stuff because I know it's more about what you don't hear than in how they create the dissonance and all that stuff. Not me yet. We'll see if I ever get there. Hey, 2 videos in a row where I'm showing something sort of metal. I do like it. I just don't find it. Rat's Invasion of Your Privacy. What an album. I mean, Rat was one of those bands, their first few were always consistent. You got a couple of monster songs on it, and the rest of the album was just really good. And chick is really, really cute. We wouldn't say cute. We would say she was smoking hot, but, not bad. Great album. Couldn't pass this one up. And what's even funnier was my wife had to work that day, so I kind of out there with the kid, and he's like, "Daddy, do you want that one?" "Yes, I do. Thank you. Good job." And then he pulled out like 4 of those. I was like, "No, dude, what are you doing? Just go back to watching something on my phone." The last 3 are huge monsters. This is no exception. I mean, the Beatles. Hey Jude is what is officially, affectionately called. The Beatles Again is what it's properly called. Some great stuff. It's on the Apple label. Not an official release because obviously this was a collection of singles and previously released stuff. But Beatles on vinyl, absolutely gonna grab them. Santana's debut. This one kind of perplexed me as far as the pressing. I know it's not an early because it's on the Columbia Round label, but it's maybe a mid-70s pressing maybe. I don't know. I looked it up and it kind of confused me a little bit, but wasn't really concerned about the pressing so much. It's in decent shape. Santana back then was just absolutely on fire. The Latin influence, the jazz influence, the blues influence just comes together so well and gives you that psych element to kind of the icing on the cupcake. So I didn't just pick up one. I had to pick up 2. This one's just a stone cold classic. Now this pressing really threw me for a loop because everything points to it being like maybe an 80s press. But an 80s press would have a barcode, so I'm at a loss of this one. But you know what? Essentially $5, cut in half, buy one, get one. So I got these 2 stone cold, absolute, you're not going to complain about them classics for $5. Santana and Abraxas. You're not going to turn that down. You're just not. And if you are, you're insane. Because these 2, that's the icing on the cupcake right there. Again, going to the top of the pile. And I'm probably going to play those back to back because those are just 2 fantastic albums. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I've actually got another one I need to listen to. It's Santana and his name just fell out of my head. Nope, not going to come to me. Anyway, I have another Santana album I got to throw in there, so I'll make it a triple feature on that one and just clean them up and make it a Santana day. So, regardless, glad to have these absolutely all day, every day. Not going to turn them down. To me, it was just a great day. Was in and out, maybe about an hour or so, and it felt really good. So got a great deal, got a great stack. And some stuff to listen to. So, everybody, I appreciate you watching. Don't forget about my contest. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. I had a video about that a couple videos ago, so check that one out. For everybody who's been watching, subscribing, commenting, making faces, behind my back, it doesn't matter as long as you're watching. Hey, have some fun. That's what it's all about. So hopefully everybody's having a great day, having a great time. Enjoy what you're listening to, and we'll talk soon.